Welcome to Temple Street. Temple Street is a popular attraction in Yau Ma Tei, which has distinguished itself as one of the busiest night markets in Hong Kong that consists of over 100 stalls which sell a wide variety of goods. The street is also surrounded by a plethora of residential and industrial buildings. Furthermore, the famous Tin Hau Temple is also located just a kilometer away from the night market. Although this market bustles with energy during its peak times, there are latent hazards and vulnerabilities, namely fires. In Temple Street, there are three main potential sources of fires: cigarette butts, fire spreading from restaurants nearby, and electrical fires caused from accidental sparks. However, the most plausible cause of fire would be accidental electrical sparks that may occur within stalls due to poorly developed circuit systems. In nearly all of the stalls in the market, multiple cords are plugged into one electricity provider in a rough manner. Furthermore, there are multiple vulnerabilities that may escalate to a potential fire in Temple Street. Firstly, the population density of the street is extremely high, especially during its peak time at night when it is almost impossible to cruise the street freely. This places more people at risk and hinders a smooth evacuation process. Secondly, the stalls are closely connected to each other. This means that a fire could easily spread to other stalls through a domino effect. Also, civilians and stall owners can either only exit through a narrow pedestrian walk behind their stalls, or walk 100 meters to the cross-section for an escape route. Thirdly, the products that the stalls sell and the makeshift tents used in the market could easily catch fire. As you can see, there are shops that sell fabric-based products like clothing. The sheets that separate the stalls are polyethylene tarps, which have an ignition point of 349 degrees Celsius. Keeping in mind that the average temperature of a fire hazard stands between 700 to 1200 degrees Celsius, the tarps could add on to the domino effect mentioned previously. Fourth, there are old signboards which are approximately 50 years old that are looming above the heads of the visitors. If these boards were to catch fire or even fall during a fire disaster, it would definitely lead to larger damages. Next to the signboards are ropes which are closely connected to the nearby residential buildings, which are also combustibles. Lastly, because the residential buildings have poorly maintained automatic fire suppression systems and no windows, it is difficult not only to suppress the fire, but also for the residents to evacuate, as it would be almost impossible for them to breathe properly within the building. So what are the existing risk reduction measures in Temple Street? The two risk reduction measures we have identified are automatic fire suppression systems and fire hydrants. However, these measures are nowhere close to tackling the vulnerabilities. Firstly, the automatic fire suppression systems were only located in some buildings, but not among the stalls. Not to mention that most of these were either very outdated or poorly maintained. However, the fire hydrants were in a better condition. There was at least one fire hydrant on every street. These hydrants could help firefighters when they arrive from the Yau Ma Tei fire station, which is located only around 5 to 6 minutes away from the market in terms of driving time. Nonetheless, there are two key problems to this measure. Since accidental sparks are the most plausible reason if a fire were to occur on Temple Street, the usage of water to extinguish the fire may lead to electrical shocks. Furthermore, because traffic is closed after 2 p.m. for the stalls to be set up, it would be very difficult for the fire trucks to approach and make use of the fire hydrant. On top of that, even the cross-section is very narrow, just enough for a minibus to pass by. So how would a fire truck even enter in the first place? Hence, there are some points of improvement for Temple Street to create a more fire-safe environment. Firstly, the most immediate and feasible solution will be for stall owners to place a portable fire extinguisher around their stalls. These allow the owners to deal with the fire themselves, especially during the fire's incipient stage, to prevent its further widespread. Portable fire extinguishers can also be implemented to reach the insides of the shops, which are usually not accessible by the water from fire hoses. More importantly, extinguishers containing halon gas or carbon dioxide instead of water could address the risk of electrical shocks, which was previously mentioned as one of the main problems. Secondly, inflammable materials can be implemented on stalls. According to the FSD and the Buildings Department, if hawker stalls are enclosed on 3 sides, and if the top is constructed with fire-resisting materials, a fire resistance period of at least 1 hour could be offered. Lastly, the lack of automatic fire suppression systems is possibly the largest gap between the present risk and the risk reduction measures. To curb this problem, the government and the FSD can provide funds and workshops to the owners of stalls and stores in Temple Street to install automatic fire suppression systems. Even the installation of a basic fire alarm and fire sprinkler can greatly reduce the hazard during a fire. As addressed before, the lack of escape routes is the most threatening problem when a fire occurs. Given it is unrealistic to rearrange the building layouts, we have decided to instead focus on increasing the availability of escape routes. For instance, in between every 3 to 4 stalls, there should be one breakout route to ensure evacuation. This not only prevents the problem of individuals needing to walk 100 meters to find a cross-section, it also slows down the spread of fire, as stalls will not be as closely packed. Finally, education is the best solution in the long run. Stall owners are oblivious towards fire risk awareness, avoiding the problem by always saying that a fire has not and will not occur. To curb this problem, education regarding fire safety should be provided. With proper knowledge on risk reduction measures, such as how to use a portable fire extinguisher effectively, the owners will have sufficient knowledge and the sufficient resources and equipment to deal with fire hazards.